Hello, hello, hello. And how are you on this beautiful Thursday? It is so good to be back with you on our session of a fresh start. Listen, have you investigated your circle lately? What circle are you talking about? The people that you hang around with, your inner circle, those folk you have up close and personal to you. Have you investigated uh, how they feel about you lately? It's good to take an inventory, you know, occasionally and find out folks still thinking about you, maybe how they once were, or uh, since you've changed, you've grown. Uh, what uh, what inventory, what investigation have you done that causes you to know that maybe they either still feel the same, or they've noticed that you've grown, or their mindset about you it matches your mindset about you? Have you investigated lately? I'm Shauna Grace, and I am so excited to always be here with you in our sessions. I am a certified life coach. I do have a doctorate in counseling, and I am a believer. And I love taking the holy writings to help us live an our everyday life the way Daddy, who some of you may call God, your creator, Jehovah, Yahweh, Most High, whatever your relationship is with him. When my relationship is Daddy, and because he has been there when I tell you through everything, my God, we're not even gonna go on that right now. But I want you to know the holy writings are not just for Wednesday night Bible study and Sunday morning service. The holy writings are for you to have the most amazing life, awesome, phenomenally exceptional life that you could have, because he meant for you to have that. He came through Big Brother Jesus to give us abundant life. So, with that said, I want you to know that yes, I do use the holy writings to help us do it. No, it's not Bible study. It's life. Okay. It's life. That's what I want you to know. It is life. And I hope that you have your uh, mug. Mine says every day is a fresh start. Every day is a fresh start. And every day is a fresh start. Oh, yeah. Every day is a fresh start. That's what it is a fresh start. And so 12:01 a.m. this morning, Thursday, we had a brand new day. Oh yeah, the name is the same, but the day is not. Okay? So let's remember that. Let's remember that. All right, we left off talking yesterday about the folk in our circle. Okay? Now I understand that we have made our circle, and uh we have our BFFs, we have our family, excuse me, we have those who we magic word, we have deemed close to us. Okay, but we must understand that unless both sides have the same vision, um might need to check your folk, and maybe you need to switch some people out, because you don't need anybody in your circle that see you different than you see you, in terms of you seeing yourself as a priority. You see yourself in a positive way, and they don't have that same view of you. No, you don't need nobody in your circle like that. You don't. Oh, I always love that coffee. That first sip gets me every time. But as I said, you need to know who's in your circle. And we left off talking about that yesterday from Matthew 16, 13 through 16, where it says how that our big brother Jesus was asking, he had an inner circle. He had 12 boys. Okay. We call them boys. They were grown men. But he had 12, 12 boys. And he asked them in this passage of scripture, who the folk out there say I am? You all are out there among them, when you go to take care of business, do your shopping, whatever. What's the talk out there on the street about me? That's really what he was asking. What's the talk out there on the street about me? And they said, well, some say you're John the Baptist, some say you Elijah, some say you're Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. But he got a little bit more specific, and this is where I'm coming to you. He said, okay, but now y'all are my inner circle. Who do y'all say that I am? Peter immediately spoke up and said, oh, I know who y'all. You the Christ, the Son of the living God. I know that. And Jesus looked at Peter and said, okay. I just want you to know flesh and blood didn't reveal that unto you. But you had a connection on the inside that told you who I was. And that's true. That's who I am. Now, when it comes to you, you say, well, what does that have to do with me? Who do your people in your circle say that you are? You have a view that you are productive, you're successful, you are a priority, you have a lot to offer. You get what I'm saying? What is your inner circle saying? Are they saying the same thing? Because I have all ideas that you are saying that about them. I have all ideas that you are saying the same thing about them. You're saying the same thing about them. They're, y'all are good, you're successful, oh man, y'all got it going on, blah, blah, blah. That's how you see them. But now, how do they see you the same way? Do they? Do they see you the same way? See, you got to investigate these things, because as you are changing, since you've been with me, I know your thought process have started changing. You're watching things more closely now. You're not listening so much as what people say, as how much you're watching how they treat you. So you're changing. How much have you discovered? Have you discovered that your inner circle see you like you see them? Or did you discover that, oh, that's how y'all were looking at me? Okay. Okay. Well, we're going to have to make some changes with that. We're going to have to make some changes with that. Because I don't need anybody around me that don't see the goodness in me as I see the goodness in me. Okay? You have to have that, because that, what is that when you have that around you? That's support, that's positive energy, that's motivation. You get what I'm saying? And that's connection. That's unity. Because both of you all see each other the same way. You don't see them as priority and they see you as an option. You don't see them as priority and they see you as convenience. Mm-mm. None of that. None of that at all. You get where I'm coming from? That's what I'm trying to tell you. You must understand. You must understand. You must understand. You say, why did you pause so long? Because I need that to settle in. I know you don't want to change out people. You've been with your inner, some folk have been with their inner circle since little children. They grew up in the same neighborhood. They went to the same schools. They bonded. But do your inner circle still have you as a priority, or has their view of you changed? Excuse me. This is what you've got to come to grips with. You remember I told you a few weeks back, I have that situation right now. And that person is wondering why we can't connect. No, we can't. Because you're yet showing me that you don't see me as I see you. So I'm not going any further with this until we can sit down and talk about this gigantic elephant in the room. Mm-mm. The most we gonna do is a minimal chat, and that's it. Seriously. You know why? Because I need you to understand. I need you to understand. If you don't see me how I see me, your behavior is gonna always demean me. Oh, did y'all hear that right there? If you don't see me like I see me, your behavior is going to always demean me. I can't spend the rest of my life fighting your mind about me, trying to get you to see the good in me, the success in me. I can't. I can't. I have to let you see what you want to see, and I have to see what I know because I live in here. So I know me, and I have to move on. I have to let you find the people that you will respect, that you will see them as they see themselves. They are a priority, and that's exactly how you see them, and you respect them, and you value them as such. I need you to get this. I need you to get this now. Somebody may have just come by this podcast and say, "Oh, I'm fine with that. That's not my problem." Hey, I'm good. Find a podcast that does talk to the issue that you have. But for those of y'all that came and said, "Oh my God, she's talking to me," I need you to stop and sit right there and listen, because you talking about your life, and you don't have but one. See, this is stuff I wish those that had adopted me. I am an adoptee. Those that had adopted me couldn't find out my father was my real father, but they adopted me at the time. I wish they'd have taught me this. So I wouldn't have just been out there just loving everybody, just got my arms open to everybody, just pushing everybody up and not paying attention that it wasn't even being reciprocated, even by them. It wasn't being reciprocated in a lot of areas. Now, don't get me wrong. They took care of me. They provided all of that. My mother made sure I knew who Jesus was, and she gonna make sure I had him. But there were so many other things that I needed to go along with Jesus. They didn't bring that. And this is one of the main things, is knowing who you are. I was told, but I wasn't treated. That's why I'm so hard on that. People can tell you anything, but their behavior towards you will tell you if they lying or telling the truth. You get where I'm coming from? It'll tell you where they're lying or telling the truth. You don't have time. Oh, let me talk to you this morning. Woo, on this last day of this session for this week. You don't have time to keep hanging around people that see everybody else as a priority, but they don't see you as one. They can go help everybody else, but it has to be a convenience if they help you. It has to be if they don't. Now they'll push everything aside to go help others. But when it comes to you, it has to be convenient. Let me check my schedule. They didn't tell the others to check that, about letting them check their schedule. You see what I'm saying? And this is what I'm trying to get you to see. And people are entitled to their opinions about you. I'm not telling you that they get mad and get upset. No, because then that makes you look crazy. I'm telling you to pay attention to how people embrace you on a daily. Whenever they're around you, pay attention to how they embrace you. Pay attention to how they talk to you and different things they say. Their talk will tell you. I don't really, think about you like that. I don't really see you like that. All while they're smiling and, y'all are having a good time, they're saying things. But see, you're so engrossed. You're so engrossed in loving them and in thinking good about them that you're not paying attention. They're not thinking that good about you. They're not valuing you that highly. You got them up here and they got you right here. You have to investigate. 1 Corinthians 15, 33 through 34 say you're known by the company you keep. That's what those verses allude to. You're known by the company you keep. Anytime you got to keep coming away feeling drained, feeling like you had to fight. Tyler Perry said in the movie, I had to fight all my life. I had to fight. Anytime you come away feeling like you had to fight, feeling like you had to, you had to prove yourself. You had to make a point. No. Mm-mm. That's not how that goes. You got the wrong company. Now, you don't have to know when their mind changed about you. That's irrelevant. Okay? You don't have to know when their mind changed about you. You just have to recognize that it has and make the necessary adjustments. Find some new friends. I was in the company of some new folk I met yesterday. And it felt good that I didn't have to open my mouth and say nothing. Somebody had approached me and they stepped right up. They said, leave her alone. And they explained to them that, that I had give them permission to sit in my presence. And they looked at me, they said, is it all right? It's fine. Because I was paying attention. They were they were kind of down, I could see they wasn't quite all, where they needed to be and things. And I've had those days, so no problem. So they left. When they left, immediately they went to whispering to me, trying to talk me against the person that had just left. I said, oh, okay, I see where you are. So the person that left came back, because what they mentioned to me was that, they were down and out and they didn't have and blah, blah, blah. Normally, because you don't never know where you're going to be in life. Normally, I say, well, it's no problem. Just get yourself something to eat, and then you be on your way. But I recognized, okay, this is something you've been doing for a while, but I didn't say anything. And I told them when they began to give me what we call the sob story, I said, well, before you eat anything, I think you need to tell the owner, that you don't have anything to pay in it, pay for your food and, be straight up and, whatever they say after that, you go with what they say. By the time I could get that out my mouth, excuse me, the owner came back. And I said, well, there they are right there, So as the person began to tell them, the situation, they just cut it right off. They said, well, if you can't, then you're going to have to go. And they said, well, okay. After that person left, the owner told me they do that all the time. And you don't come and disturb those that come to be with us. And I paid that some attention. I said, okay. Because there wasn't nobody in there but me at the time. And I said, to sit down eating. I said, okay. That showed value. That showed that you are a priority. And no, nobody. I said, okay. I said, all right, Lord. Thank you. Now, that could not have happened had I still been in my old frame of mind before Daddy started transforming me to see me as a priority. I would have told the owner, I said, oh, no, it's okay. It's all right. I said, because none of us know where life going to take us. I said, this is where they are right now. And, I don't mind. Inviting, I hope y'all are hearing me. Inviting leeching behavior. because what that person would have listened for was, when was I going to be there again, and what time, and they would have made sure that they came again with the same story, and they don't have nothing. You get what I'm saying? See, when you start valuing yourself, it's not that you don't want to help nobody, but you begin to discern when somebody really needs help and when somebody just walks around trying to leech off of everybody else because they don't want to do for themselves. You get where I'm coming from? That's why you have to investigate. Even in your circle, we talked about this, I believe it was Tuesday. I talked about it last week. Folk keep making you an option, to keep making you a convenience, and they never reciprocate the help towards you that you have given, invested toward them. It's time for you to make some changes, because those folk no longer need to be in your company when they can do all the taking and can't ever be there to do some giving. You feel me? And I want you to go on this week and the rest of this week until we come back next Tuesday. Rest of this week, weekend, the beginning of next week, because we are here Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday morning at 5 a.m. in the 5 o'clock hour. That's when we're here. And I want you to pay attention to your inner circle. Pay attention to your family. Pay attention to those that you if you're a believer as I am, pay attention to those in ministry and in your congregation where you conjugate together to praise the Lord. Watch those that are your co-workers on your job. And keep that investigating hat on. And when you see, okay, all right, because something happened just yesterday, and I'll close out with this. Something happened just yesterday. Somebody gave me their word about something, and they ghosted. Now, when they finally did tell me about it, I was asleep. Okay, so here I had sacrificed and got things, so that I could handle that, and it never happened. Now, that's understandable one time, but it can't happen again, because if it does, then I'm teaching that person that it's all right to ghost me. It's all right to devalue my time while you value everybody else's, including your own. You feel me? And as soon as it happened, I said, okay, we got to handle this, because this can't happen again. Because you got to understand, your time is just as valuable as everybody else's. And see, I grew up in the era where your word was your bond. And if you couldn't, we live in an age now where you can text, shoot a line. I'm sorry, it something came up. I'm not going to be able to. At least you release that person to go ahead on and do something else with that time and not just sit there and wait. So you see what I'm saying? But see, had I been where I used to be, I've been, I understand that. No, let's go ahead on and handle this now. because it's not going to keep happening. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just things that you can nip in the bud. Things you can nip right in the bud immediately. So people get to understand, okay, she values herself. I can't just, treat her any kind of way and it'll be okay. You must understand how you treat you sends a message to those around you how to treat you. Please get that. Please get that. Okay? And I want you to start cleaning up. If you got to switch out folk, switch them out. If your circle is 8 people and you got to cut it down to 3, you do what you got to do. I'd rather have 3 people and they value me just as highly as I value them than to have 8 people. And the 3 people that do value me is going along with the 5 people that don't. So that now all 8 of them are treating me in a unvalued way, in a devalued way. You see what I'm saying? So I'm saying to you, investigate. 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 You don't let nobody, I don't care if it's a complete stranger, you don't let nobody feel like that you're not a priority and they can just treat you however they want to treat you. Okay? You can't do it. You just cannot do it. You can't do it. I'm telling you. Because it will backfire on you later. And you don't want that. You don't want to have to wait 10, 15 years down the road and start cleaning stuff up. No, let's clean it up right now. As soon as it happens, we're going to address it. Okay? And if it doesn't set well with them, well, then we're moving on. Because I am a priority. Just like everybody else. And once you treat yourself that way, people will stop treating you like an option. They'll stop treating you like a convenience. They'll stop giving you the bare minimum. Because you have shown them, no, I'm priority. That's not what I accept. And you ain't got to get ugly about it. You don't have to get nasty about it. Folk, hear me. You don't have to get nasty and throw your neck and get a toe. You don't have to do that. You just showing your hood side then. That's all you doing. Okay? And I mentioned my experiences not to throw my business out there, but to let you see I'm not talking nothing I don't do. I be faced with it even as I'm talking to you. But I can tell you how, because I deal with it. And if there's anybody that want me to personally mentor you, hit me up in my DM on Facebook. Look for Shauna Grace. I'm in a red robe with my hands up, looking up to my daddy. And you can DM me and say, I need help. Oh, you talking to me. I need help. Because I'm talking to you on a general level, but there are strategies that you need to have in place to be able to make this be concrete inside of you and not just 1 or 2 times and then you revert back. Okay? So listen, have a good, rest of your week, rest of your day, rest of your week. Have a good weekend. Have a good beginning to your week. And join me back here Tuesday, 5 a.m. And let's talk some more about your fresh start. You are a priority. carry yourself as such.